All right. What's going on, everybody? How y'all doing tonight? Jay here. Welcome back to the Thursday night hang that we do every week here at Thursday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern on the Ono Live channel. We're here doing our coffee and cigar show. Welcome back. How's it going? Rusty, Mom, Craig, I see you're all out there. How's everything going? Everything's good this week? All right, good. Glad to hear it. So if you just joined us for the first time, come and let us know that you're here and drop some comments down in the comments bar over here, and then whatever you want to say, and then tell us where you are, tell us what you're doing, what you're drinking, what you're smoking, and all of that kind of thing as we get into coffee and cigars for another evening. George, what's going on, George? How are you doing tonight? Hope it's well. We're back here. We're going to be doing some coffee, and then is going to be the Gran Habano Persian King, and this Persian King is a line extension of with a diadema type of pyramid. It's an interesting one. I was at the cigar shop the other day, and I was like, you know what? Let me go look around. And I saw this, and I was like, hey, I'm going to go try that out for this weekend. So, yeah, turn off the rectangle. Oh, is the rectangle running? Oh, man. Yeah, you're right, it is. I can see it on the thing. Okay, so hang on one second. Let me just go to this camera here. Let me go press the button on that. Does that change it? Oh, that's not even the right camera. All right, I think that'll do it. Yes. Okay, good. Yeah, I'm using the camera that we haven't used in a little while. The camera that I'm using right now is called the Sony RX10, and it is the camera we were using when we were in the old studio doing it at the desk. This is the camera that I eventually replaced the A60 and the A6000 with, and now we're running. I thought I'd bust it out here because the camera itself tonight is actually at a much farther distance than I normally situate the cameras. But the RX10, the nice thing about it has like a 300 millimeter equivalent reach, so it can reach out a lot farther. Maybe more compressed, right? With the camera here, the other camera sitting here, this one. Yeah, that's this other one, and then this is our main one. But the other one I got so that I can show it around. No doubt about that. So, what do we have to tell you? So tonight we're here. We're brewing up some coffee. Going to be brewing some regular coffee from Spro, from my company. I'm finally getting closer to what we're going to be doing next. Just kind of agreed to a new lease at a spot which is actually across the street from where the roastery used to be. Turns out there was a spot across the street that this woman uses, and she's very good friends with the owners of the restaurant next door. And so I was talking to the owners of the restaurant next door. This is maybe a month ago, and she was like, "My friend is looking for someone to share their rent," and I was like, let's talk. So looks like we got that worked out, and I got some contractors bidding on some work to be done for the space, and then who knows, we might be up and running by March in that new space. And then there's also a couple other things we're working on. So hope everything's going well. So what we're going to do today, we're going to be brewing some coffee. We're going to be brewing the House Nation, which is the house coffee. And really what I'm thinking about for this new location is going to be something very much simple coffee, nice, but simple and very affordable for people. That's going to be really kind of the thrust of this one. George is saying that we are winning with weather tonight. Absolutely. Sitting on the dock and enjoying a Illusion MJ12 Maduro in the shorts. Excellent. I'm not wearing shorts. I'm actually wearing, as you can see, I'm wearing a little bit of layers here because I think it's a little bit chilly. I mean, we're probably close to 55 degrees, which compared to the last couple of weeks, that's downright hot. Like actually, when I was running around today, it was like 58, 57. I was wearing like a sweatshirt and like a puffy vest. I took off the vest and I was like, okay, that's a little bit too much. But I figured maybe it also might be a little bit rainy tonight, so I got to be a little bit careful of that. So that's what kind of set it up so that I'll show you how it's set up tonight. Let's see here. So this is me. Ooh, let me turn that off. And I've got it set up. We were broadcasting from that position 2 weeks ago, but I kind of readjusted have a little table here, and then the camera itself is now inside. You can see into the house, and then there is an umbrella. Right, so I've got to stand here with the umbrella just in case it starts to rain. So I got to be a little bit cognizant of the rain, and I kind of had to set it up so that everything is actually all the electronics and technology is actually inside under cover. So if it does start to rain, I can easily continue on, and I've got the umbrella above I don't have to worry about it, right? So that's where we are. Well, thank you. Yes, it definitely is a bit of relief. I mean, it doesn't solve the roastery side of the equation. It's actually going to be more of it'll probably, right now I'm thinking it'll probably end up being, it'll be a to-go place for coffee, and it'll probably end up having some of the YouTube stuff there. And I also want to make it into a space where we can, do coursework, seminar sessions. I think it's got the right space for that. A little bit of education. And then that's still, so I'm still talking to this one other group about doing a roastery in this other location. So more to come on that. Hopefully that'll come out through. And Rusty's asking, was this the restaurant where the customers tried to park in your lot? Yes. Well, yes, the restaurant. Well, actually, from the old roastery, there's restaurants on both sides, right? And so customers would want to park there. The landlord didn't want anyone parking there. But this is the side where the diner is. And there's a little building there that we're going to be using. So that'll be good. It'll be good. And Brian's just joining us. What's going on? Thank you, man. Thank you. Good to see you, Brian. All right, so let's get to our brew. We're going to do a little bit simple brew. Today we've got our Bonavita. What do you call this? The Bonavita immersion dripper. And I've already got 24 grams of coffee pre-ground. We're going to do a little bit less of while we're in our makeshift setup, I think we have to do a little bit less of the preparation on this side, right? We've got as always with our filter, that make it nice, and our coffee's going to go inside here. Let's just balance it out. Oh, got to be a little bit careful because we're right on the edge. Now I've got the coffee just off the boil. Right. Hey Siri, set timer 3 minutes.
3 minutes, starting now.
Oh, that's kind of nice, huh? That's kind of nice. I'm starting to enjoy this Siri thing, right? I've always been kind of skeptical of Siri because, I don't know, we just never got along for a while. So now I think we're getting somewhere, and it's working much better.
It's canceled.
No, don't cancel. We're not working well together then. Oh, good Lord. Hey Siri, set timer 2 hours, 2 minutes, 50 seconds.
2 hours, 2 minutes, and 50 seconds.
No.
Starting.
We're losing it. Hey Siri, set timer 2 hours. Oh gosh, never mind. Hey Siri, set the timer for 2 minutes, 15 seconds.
2 minutes and 15 seconds.
Thank you. All right, so I'm going to add the water. I'm going to fill it all the way up. There we are. Okay. Now you've got the water in here. All right, good. Now, the one problem with this table is that it's a slatted table, right? It's one of the old tables from Hamden, the outdoor table. So there's, spaces between each of the slats, and there's little feet for this thing. And if I put the feet in the wrong spot, then it falls in the slat, the whole thing tips over. So we got to be a little bit. That's when we're starting to get along, It's terrible. Your phone has been asking? Oh, yes, I guess. So that's where we are. Let's finish this brew. Hopefully this brew will be finished. We're just a little bit over a minute to go. But I'm out here, and I've got just in case it starts to get a bit chilly. I was sitting here getting ready, and I was like, man, it feels like it could be warm. So I did bring a hat just in case it starts to get a little bit toasty. I got my Rusty's Hawaiian Ka'u cap, right? Thank you, guys. And actually, I really dig this one. I used it in one of the videos back in the summer. when I was like, perpetrating to be on the farm. I had this in my like farm work shirt. Now I got farm boots. I got farm boots finally, which is pretty dope. So now I can kind of perpetrate for real. But okay, we're getting ready here. Come on now, 45 seconds left to go before we have to do it. Now I've got the fellow Carter mug that I've been kind of playing around with, right? I'm in the middle of doing, like I mentioned this before, but I'm in the middle of doing a video about this, and it's been pretty good. I'm pretty surprised how much I'm enjoying this. I didn't really think that I would enjoy stuff from Fellow, but I'm enjoying quite a bit, even though I paid more than full tilt for it. But sometimes it has to happen. Love the cap. Got to update. Oh, there's a jacket. Oh, yeah. When we're in Chicago, let's get a jacket going on here. Oh, okay. Timer's up. Now we're just going to take this. We're going to place on top of it. I got to be a little bit careful here before I do something wrong. And then I'm just going to open the valve, right? There's a valve here. How does this work? And then we go. Just open that valve. And then the water, the coffee will now flow through the top. Mm-hmm. Right? Not terribly, I guess that's not terribly exciting, but it's kind of exciting. So the idea behind this coffee is that we want it to be very accessible, like the chocolate notes and some nuttiness on the finish, a little bit of fruitiness, something that's accessible and friendly to a wide range of palates. I've spent the last 2 weeks, especially, or the last week especially, just going around trying different coffees from different places in the area, but whether it's both convenience store style coffee, Dunkin' Donuts, Starbucks, coffee shops, Actually, I had this one place today. If you see my Instagram, I went to this one place today. When you go try blueberry muffins, right? You usually will find a blueberry muffin that has a dearth of blueberries. There's not enough blueberries sometimes, right? Sometimes you get them, like in that movie Casino, where De Niro's character is I want you to put the same amount of blueberries in each of the muffins. And the chef is like, you want me to do what? Basically how it works, right? You just don't have enough. I went to this one place today. Very pretty looking blueberry muffin. It had the large the large sugar crystals on top and nicely baked top. So it's kind of a little bit crispy. But man, for the very first time ever, I never thought I would say this. There was too many blueberries. It was a super abundance of blueberries. So much blueberries that there was almost no batter. It's I was whoa! I never thought there could be too much, but this was too much. It lost the balance, right? And I think that's where we have to. It's a shame about that. Oh, but Craig says it's too bad. Yeah, it's too bad. But the problem was, what? They were so expensive. We were retailing that for $65. You know what? We had those on the shelf for a long time. Nobody bought them because who's gonna? And I don't know. Maybe it's just our clientele. Maybe we didn't really understand how to push it. But nobody bought it because $65 for a brew. We were also selling V60. No, did we sell V60s? We sold a couple V60s. Mostly we were selling. We really were selling more of the B House, and the B House as well as the Clever. $30, $65. That's a tough one to sell. Tough to sell because we sold those. We sold the AeroPress. So AeroPress was $30. We also sold French presses for $30, right around the same price. So all these brewers, that was the one from the nice company, Bodum, the Bodum Chambord. So we had all these brewers for around the $30 to $40 price point, maybe $20 for some. Maybe I think the Abbott cover might have been $20. And 65 was it was really difficult to sell. Even when we got to the Bonavita, the brewer, which was $95 or $100. Again, our I don't know what it was, but our client base just wasn't into spending that kind of money, even no matter how good it was. Steven's with us. What's going on, Steven? Man, good to see you. How's everything going? Weather tonight's about 55, 58 degrees, somewhere right around there. A little bit heavy in the humidity. We're also sort of get a lot of fog, Could be a lot of fog. 6 hours. There's a notice for 6 hours for fog, so we might have a lot of fog. So let's have a little bit of the coffee. One of the things about these thermals, nice and hot. So this is a real kind of like, yeah, definitely nuts, walnuts, a little bit of like chocolate, like dark chocolate. All right, that works. That works. Good stuff. Good stuff. All right, so I mentioned last week, Craig knew what I was talking about. Probably knew what I was talking about because this is a Canadian company up in, where are they from? They are from Cambridge, Ontario. There we go, Cambridge, Ontario. And I got a little package here delivered just like a couple days ago by DHL. And DHL, they're so funny, right? The DHL, they're sending me all these notices over the weekend. They're like, if you want to have signature-less, delivery, click on this link and then we'll set it up. And I looked at it, I was like, no, I want them to, I want to sign for it. I want them to like ring the doorbell so I know that it's here, right? Well, I never heard from them. I got no doorbell. I got nothing the whole day. So around 8 o'clock, I look online, and there it is, a notification. Your package was delivered at 5:21. I was like, 5:21? What? So I go outside. There it is. It's right by the front door. Where I'm living, it's not so like, I don't have to necessarily worry about like people stealing, door pirates. I mean, there's always that concern, but they have signature confirmation. The driver forged the signature because I'm looking at it and like, that's not even the way I would put my initials. Oh my God. Do I get upset? And I was like, you know what? The package was delivered. I got it. No big deal. So I decided not to say anything. So this is by a company called, what is it called? I can't remember, Hammersmith or something like that. But here's their sticker on the back, which is nice. And so they sent a DHL from Toronto or from Ontario. Oh, it's so like moist out here that the paper bag is tearing open. All right, so that's that. Here's my packing slip. Hacksmith. Hacksmith is the name. What did I get in here? I got the package protection. So this is what's called, it's from Hacksaber. Hacksmith, it's called Mini Saber, right? This is reputedly the first, what do you call it? The first lightsaber ever. So this is it. And it kind of looks like that. Suppose it's going to look like something like that. You can see. Let me take the paper off, the plastic off, so that it'll be easier to see. I forgot how I found out about this, but I was online and I saw this and I was like, all right, that looks ridiculous. Like I just couldn't, I guess I decided that I just couldn't say no. I figured I'd go get it. So I think it was like $100. And I was like, you know what? Forget it. I'm going to go buy it. So let me just. Take off the plastic here. I don't want to throw it around, otherwise I'm going to lose it. All right, so here we go. We've got our Hacksmith. Right? It has looks like there's a little challenge coin on the top. Look at that. It's kind of cool. Oh, yeah, it is a challenge coin. And it has a little plastic cover. Oh, okay. I'll put that aside. Let's look at the challenge coin first. So challenge coin. Oh, let me put this way. The challenge coin. I helped develop the world's first lifesaver. So I guess because it's like some sort of like I guess it's part of this. I guess that's why it says that. Honestly, I'm late to the game. But I appreciate that, Hacksmith. Thank you very much. All right, so there's our coin, challenge coin. That's kind of awesome. And here on the back, it says some literature. I'll tell you what it says. It says, for decades, many have tried to recreate science fiction in real life. Many have failed, while others have given up halfway through the journey. But that is not how we do things. Hacksmith Industries sets the world record for the first ever retractable proto-saber. Oh, Proto Saber. We prove to the world that science fiction can indeed be made real. This mini saber is homage to our Proto Saber, miniaturized to fit in the palm of your hand, proof that nothing is impossible. Thank you for being part of this journey. We don't know what the future holds, but one thing is for sure, we are just getting started. And then there are some functions, right? There's some functions here. You can see it kind of on the, let me see if I can get better. You see it better there? So we've got the safety lock switch, flame adjustment wheel, ignition switch, risk of fire. Risk of fire. There is a risk of fire. All right, there's a little bit of a sticker tab. And Craig says, do not light the cigar with the light. Come on, that's what it's here for. We got to try it. We got to try it. Well, we'll see. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see what happens when we light it up. All right. So, okay, there we go. Steve says that it's been raining on and off since Sunday, but tonight's real nice. Out good smoke. Yeah, it's been raining most of the day here. Luckily, I looked at the forecast, and luckily it's slowed down and stopped. So, yeah, I saw that. I saw that they're looking. That would be really interesting if they can get that actually to work. But I guess, as with most things like Star Trek, with that kind of helps to inspire. All this kind of helps to inspire the engineering. All right, so here we go. Here we go. Oh, kind of dope. Oh, look at that. Huh? Wow. It's very weighty. Like you can, it feels heavy, but it's a reefer, right? But what seems to be missing though, like there should be, I don't know, maybe there is, but there should be like, remember in Star Wars, like Luke and everyone's clipping their lightsabers to their belt? Like I would think there should be some kind of lighting there. Now, okay, so we've got this lock. It says lock here, right? And then I think this is an adjustment. Oh, there, yeah, that turns somehow. And then this lights. I don't know. Okay, let me put that down. Oh, here, let's look at the jets. There's the jets. Look at that. It's kind of like, that's very Star Warsy. So this little thing that has the prongs, I think this is the metal that will react with the flame to give it a particular color. All right, let me just look here at the instruction. Oh, look, the little thing at the bottom where the harness the power. Yes, harness the power, baby. Harness the power. All right, step 1, obtain a lighter butane bottle with a nozzle that is 3 millimeters in diameter. Flip the fuel canister and the mini saber upside down. Insert an olive fuel valve and push down to restart fueling. Stop refueling when the fuel starts spraying out of the refuel valve. Wait 15 seconds before lighting the mini saber to allow the fuel vapors to go away. Troubleshooting. This is a big orange flame. This means that the mini saber has been overfilled. There is a big one. To fix this, simply use up all the extra fuel in an open area until the orange flame becomes a smooth blue flame. Okay. And then it says, which butane should I buy? Any butane with a filling nozzle, it will work. However, here's some recommended M-Zone, Bernzomatic. All right, and then there is some schematics here. So you can see there's schematics for the Proto Saber. All right. I did bring I did bring the Whippet premium butane. Oh, is that it? That was it? Maybe that's it. Ten seconds. Now, it has a lock. Now, I don't know why you should have a lock on. It's probably a bad idea to have a lock. I had a torch, right, in my old truck. And I never really used it, but I had it in the truck, and I was going to go on a road trip, and I put the thing in the truck, and I was like, okay, good. Now time to light my cigar. And I lit the cigar with the torch. Like, it was a big, like, bench torch. What I didn't realize, it had a lock on it, that unless you disengage the lock, the torch would not go out. So I lit my cigar, released the button that I was holding, and I presumed the light went out. And I set it down on my car seat. Luckily, they make vehicles, luckily Chevy, GMC make, flame retardant seats, because this thing burned a hell of a hole in that seat. And you smell those. Oh my gosh, really bad. Okay, so let's try. We're going to take this. Oh, you can hear it. There we go. Oh, it's blue. It's orange. Oh. Look at that. Eat that, Darth Vader. All right, there it is. The ridiculously large. It's not terribly large. Can we make it large? Oh, it'll be a full blast. Okay, that's ridiculous. All right, now we're going to use that for the cigar time. I'm going to use that for a cigar time. All right. Let me get situated here. Cigar time. All right, so like I said, we're going to be doing. I got our humidors here, and for this week's cigar, I decided to go with a cigar called the what's it called? The Persian King. Now, the Persian King is a line that came out by Gran Habano quite a few years ago, probably like 20. I saw reviews from like the Catman from like 2015, so it's been out for a while. This particular cigar is MSRP at $7.60. Here in Baltimore, I picked it up for $8.99. So a little bit more, $9. But honestly, in the grand scheme of like modern cigar prices, $9 sounds very reasonable now. Craig says that Gran Habano number 5, Corojo number 5, used to be one of my favorite budget cigars. Yeah, I mean, I do think that George Rico makes some nice cigars. Yeah, I agree. And they're not terribly priced. And so this is a diadema, right? So diadema, so kind of pyramid shaped. It's, pyramid, torpedo on this end, and then this kind of like tapered end here with lighter caps, right? Lighter caps. And one of the interesting things about this cigar is that it is, what do you call this? Capped on both ends. And so this means that, and it also has this lighter wrapper on both ends, because this is designed for you to cut and smoke whichever side you feel like. So if you feel like a thicker cigar, you start with this. If you feel like more of a torpedo, bellicoso style, you go with this one, right? And so each of the two ends are closed. Closed foot, closed cap. Oh, closed cap. Closed cap. There we go. So we're going to, I'm going to cut it here. I like that style. I like that shape. So we're going to cut it there and smoke from this end, lighting the big end. And that way we can also get good use of the Proto Saber, right? All right, so I've got my, we got to do some household chores here, some housekeeping. With our cigar ranking form, I got to do the length. Now with this one, I'm also going to take into account where we're cutting it. go. So that's going to be, you can see where the markings are, right? Okay. Let me just do some colorations here. Okay, so I would say kind of real medium as far as wrapper color. So not terribly too dark and not very light. And then let's do some very light barnyard hay. Maybe some alfalfa. But fragrance-wise, I'd say it's kind of nice, nice and good intensity. Not terribly hard, but nice aroma. Nice aroma to start with. Now time to cut. Let's do the cutting with this one. I've got the Tornado Lamborghini cutter here. So I'm going to cut the foot off. So I'm going to cut that much off of it. So I see, I can't even see it when I do it that way. Yeah, there we go. The nice thing about this kind of cigar is that when you have all this cutting action going on, it gives you the ability to do some cutting action. All right, so I've cut it. As you can see there, right there's the cut. Come on, baby. There we go, cut there. Some cold draw time. Cool, easy draw. Actually, very pleasant, very pleasant. So cold body, light, very light, spicing forward, kind of like a light cinnamon, or more, not cinnamon. Cinnamon is much sharper. This is much more of a canela, really kind of a lighter cinnamon. I think it's good 8. Very good. All right, now it's time for the lighter. Let's have a little bit of a sip. Now time for our lighting. Or is it better with this angle? Maybe this angle. Oh. This has got to be a bad idea. Oh yeah, God, it's really kind of out of control. Maybe Obi-Wan could light it better than I could. Oh no. I gotta be a little bit careful. I don't want it to go in the house. All right, so there's our Proto Saber. Okay, that's pretty dope, but also kind of ridiculous. Like, what am I really going to use this for? I don't know. I know what I was buying, and I didn't know I was going to use it for. So, all right, I'm going to have to back up just a little bit. Because some of the smoke is going into the house. Yeah, I don't get it. Why is it smoking? I'm going to have to make some adjustments to our setup here. Bear with me for a few minutes. goodness. This is just... Let me take this umbrella out. All right, what have I disconnected? Okay, one moment. Okay, I think looking glass. That looks weird, doesn't it? All right, let's go this way. How's that better? Much better. Yeah, the glass is a little bit dirty. And plus also there's some reflection on through the glass on the doorway. Well, and over there. Yeah. It's a lightsaber, not a blowtorch. It's a lightsaber. Lightsaber, right? Oh. This just seems like a ridiculous way to, or rather entertaining way to burn through a lot of butane. But when I was filling it, it didn't really seem like there was a lot. It took a lot to fill it. What was that? Somebody's honking out there. Well, something happens to me. You'll know. All right, so the smoke. It's a big cigar. It is a thick cigar, but it's kind of nice. Nice flavor. Good amount of spiciness to it. Like it's got a nice spice. It's starting off really nicely, I think. Actually, I'm liking it. Got nothing to say that's wrong about it. I have to say that I'm pleased that it's not raining. So how's your guys' week been? Has it been good? I haven't. What have I been doing? I've been doing a lot of shoveling, trying to get the shoveling, like I've got this snowblower, and one of my friends turned me on a few weeks back to this guy that actually comes to your house and will repair your lawn equipment. I was like, what? I don't have to take it somewhere? That's great. So I called him up, scheduled an appointment, and then the appointment was actually for the 17th. Well, of course, it snowed on the 16th. And it was super bitter cold on Monday. So they called me up that we really can't do it. I said, that's fine. I don't expect you to come down. And then, so finally came out. Fixed the snowblower. Runs great. Of course, no snow now. And you know what? Maybe, actually, we had good snow. If we don't have snow the rest of the year, I'm okay with that. Even though I just spent some money on this repair, I'll be fine. I'll be happy with that. But now I have a snowblower. So now I'm like ready. I'm like prepared. Although I was trying to have him fix my generator, right? I've got this old, like 20-year-old Honda EB3 3500 3.5 kilowatt generator. Right? Really awesome generator. Like it's worked for me for a long time. But it's kind of hasn't run. I haven't run it for like, several years. And he looked at it. He's like, the problem is that when you take all the gas out of the engines or out of the tanks, and they're steel tanks, there's condensation that will happen inside the tank, and sometimes they'll start to rust. And when it does, that rust will flake off and clog your carburetors. So he's like, it's pretty old. It's probably not worth fixing. You'll end up spending a lot more money over the long term. And I was like, oh, darn it. I bled all the gas out of because I thought that would be the right thing to do. So, lesson learned. If you have a steel tank for your whatever lawn engine or whatever, make sure you keep gas in it so condensation doesn't cause rust inside the tank. If it's plastic, no big deal. But steel tanks do. And he was like, yeah, that if you bought a replacement steel tank for the generator, it costs you all this money. And then, it's also, pretty loud compared to modern generators. And I was like, uh-oh. I think I'm starting to feel some rain. Hopefully that's just the deck spraying on me. But so far, we're starting out quite nice. Quite surprised. Pleasantly surprised. And to be honest with you, I really don't smoke too many of the Gran Habanos. I remember this was one guy that goes to Tobacco Leaf here in Jessup. And he would buy, I think it's the number 5. Oh, yeah, I guess that's the one you're talking about, Craig. The one that comes in the big red box. And he would buy boxes of that. He goes, I love these things. I think I had one of them, but it's been years. I should really revisit them because if they're at great price points, then it's probably worth buying more. I think this 6x60 is a little bit big, right? Like I think it's on the bigger size. 54, 56 would be nice. So if there's something around that size, maybe, and they have this kind of flavor profile, like the way that it's starting up, that might be kind of nice to have. So what's everyone smoking tonight? Tell me what you're smoking. I'm really interested to know, as always. I think that, George, did you tell us what you're smoking already? Oh, yeah, the Louisiana MJ12. Nice. And you're in shorts. Excellent. Excellent. I like the shorts idea. Craig says that I pulled out my only pyramid to match. Nice, nice. Partaga Series P number 2, same size as Montano. Gotcha. 13-year stored in a sealed glass jar. Ooh, nice. For optimal aging, according to Minrani's Cuban cigars. Oh, I'm not familiar with that Cuban cigar encyclopedia. So you put it in so are all of your Series P number 2s in the glass jar? Or was this by itself? I have some cigars that I have in a glass jar in the humidor, but they're actually Drew Estate acid cigars, a bunch of like Cubas. I put them in there because I figured it would, keep them separate. I'm also presuming that would keep the perfumey aspect of it more contained, so that if I don't smoke, and they're probably 10 to 15 plus years old now They're pretty old. I should probably try them. Oh, they're all in one glass jar. Gotcha. Brian says that I used to buy the number 5 for my brother for less than $3. Oh, yeah, that's a good deal. And Brian only goes by PG's Gourmet Guide to Cigars. That is a good book. I do like that. Although I haven't read it in many years. I do have another book called, it's more of a coffee table book. I think it's called Havana Cigars. It's got a bunch of cigars on the cover. Like just a real close-up of a bunch of cigars lined up. That's kind of interesting. And Steve says he's having the Drew State Liga from 2 weeks ago on the show. Oh, nice. What do you think about that, Steven? How are you finding that? And how you feeling? I remember you were sick like last week and the week before. How you feeling now? Better? I'm just pleased that we're not so cold. Like last week, we were up at Tony's, and man, it was pretty brutal. It was like 16 degrees, 18 degrees. I was like, wow, man, so cold. Like I couldn't. There's no way I would have. So I could not have done it out here. Could not. So one of the things about here back at the house, right? I got this little concrete pad, and I haven't really done anything with it. It used to be a pad for what do you call it? We used to have a hot tub on it many years ago, but that hot tub's long gone. So it's just a concrete pad out here. Nothing going on with it. So we moved out of the roastery. I took all of the big pots, all the potted plants out of the roastery, brought them here, kind of set them up around the patio. So I've got a nice little seating area with like a little bit of small trees and shrubs and stuff like that. And my friend's like, I told you last week, the week before, that my friend's like, hey, I was talking, I think it was last week. I was talking to my friend Matt. I was like, hey, man, what do you think about those solo stoves? He's like, oh, those are awesome. I said, but if you need one, I got a chimenea. And I was like, what? You got a chimenea? So it's a cast iron chimenea, and we look at it today, and I was like, oh, yeah. Once the ground dries enough that I can load it into the truck and drop it and drive over the grass to the pad, I'm going to pick it up. So finally, I have some kind of like fire burning apparatus. I had this really cheap fire pit a few years back. It was one of those real thin, like bowl designs. Got it real cheap at like Home Depot. Of course, the bowl, it's really thin, so it rusts, and then finally just rusted all the way through. It just got trashed. So still have the stand for it, but just no bowl. So, into the first third. Smoking well. Nice, easy draw. Light spice. Oh, it kind of light to medium spice. Nice complexity. Enjoyable. Really nothing bad about it. Steven says, I'm feeling great. Cigar is real spicy or peppery. It's all right. I wish I had a... Yeah. You and I probably have more similar tastes. Like traditionally, like you, of course, you know that I love the Revenge. But historically, I've never really been a big Liga number 9 person, right? The Liga Privada number 9 is a nice cigar, but it's never been one that I've been like, that I was like clicking with. Of the Liga Privadas of the Drew Estates that I really liked, that I really clicked with, is the T52 Bellicoso Maduro. I think that is just a fantastic one. So I don't know if you've tried that yet, but if you get a chance, try the T52 Bellicoso. See what you think. You know, if you like it more than the number 9, and like kind of like how you might like the Revenge, then definitely you and I are more in tune. And I think that's the thing with like when you read reviews of anyone or from anyone, like you'll see people complain about reviewers, whether they're reviewing cigars or movies or food or whatever, drinks. I think the thing is that once you find someone that you kind of like, you just kind of, I think it's always about following what they say, trying for yourself, and then deciding, like, do you find yourself in sync with what they say? Or even if you're out of sync, at least you'll know that, okay, so if that person doesn't like it, perhaps I will like it. So it's worth investigating, right? That's kind of how I look at how reviewers, even though all people are really like upset about it. George says, a guy at our cigar shop only smokes the Gran Habano 770s. Wow. Oh, that's crazy. 770s. I don't know if I've ever smoked a 70 ring gauge cigar. That just seems insanely big. I have been wanting to, like, I'm actually getting a little bit nervous about the ash. I feel nervous. I've always wanted to try the femur from Roma Craft. And then if you're familiar, like several years ago, like 10 years ago, maybe 8 years ago, Roma Craft made this thing called the femur. And it was, I think, about this long, 130 ring gauge. So it was like that. It was like some ridiculous. The closest I ever got to it was when I was at the factory, like in 2014. Skip showed us the mold for it. So the mold, like, you know how you see cigars, they have all these cigars in a row. Well, the thing's so big, the mold only had enough for 2. Each mold was just for 2. But I've never seen one in real life. I've always wanted to have one. If I get down to the factory, I'll have to ask him if he's got any extras around. I gotta say, there's a nice peppery spiciness to this that's just kind of like there. It's interesting. It's intriguing. It's very enjoyable. It's a very enjoyable smoke. It's not tremendously like, it's not a statement, right? Like some cigars are trying to make a statement. This is just like solid. I guess if you're a king of Persia, you don't need to be so melodramatic, right? One of my friends called me this week. He's like, "Hey, man, my movie's coming out." He was the lead in this movie called The Haunting of Cottonwood. He's like, "Can you come to the premiere?" And I was like, "Oh, I'd love to come to the premiere. When is it?" "Thursday." I was like, "I'm really sorry. I would love to come to your premiere. If you had your premiere any night but Thursday, I would be there. But I can't. Because I'm here every Thursday." So, Johnny, hope the premiere is going well. Hope everyone loves it. Evidently, there's like over 400 people attending the premiere. So, it's not like they're hurting for people. So that's a good thing. But it looks pretty interesting. It looks kind of interesting. If you want to look what it's called The Haunting of Cottonwood, and it's actually premiering tonight at the Senator Theater here in Baltimore. And Tony, so that's what's going on, Tony. Good morning, evening, everyone. Oliva 135 perfected with a Diet Cherry Pepsi. Last week I had the Diet Cherry Pepsi when I was at Tony's house, not the smoking room. Not bad, not bad. A little bit sweet side for me, but not bad. Speaking of Pepsi, I was at the grocery store the other day, and I was like, okay. They didn't really have any good sales for Coca-Cola. Like they had buy two 6-packs of 20-ounce bottles for like $8, right? Something like, or was it $12 bucks? It'd be $12 total, I think. Yeah, it was $1. It was $1 a bottle. I was like, you know what? No. I'm sorry. It was more expensive because the $12 one was for 2 Pepsi 6-packs. And I was thinking about Diet Dr. Pepper. I was like, I'm going to buy the Diet Dr. Pepper. And then I was like, do I want to spend $12 for 12 bottles? Or should I just spend $3 for the 2-liter Diet Coke? I went for the 2-liter Diet Coke. And I've actually... $5. So I bought 3 of them, drank one. I think I drank the other one, but I put them all outside. And one of the problems is like, we drank one and then there was 2 outside. The problem is that, man, it got so cold. Like the first bottle of the two that I were outside. I brought it in. It was pretty darn cold. Kicked it, pulled the cap off. Got to pour it out fast because the thing is sublimating, right? And sublimating is when it changes. It's so cold that it instantly freezes, right? So you got to pour it out right away. And then it's sublimated. And actually, it sat there for like 2 days with like ice in it in the kitchen on the counter. Then on Sunday, I think it was, the other one that was outside exploded. Like it finally reached the point where I don't really understand. Like it had sublimated on its own. Like it was so cold that it just froze solid. Actually, any of the soda bottles I had outside had froze solid. And actually, I've got like 32-ounce quart bottles out here of seltzer that didn't explode. They were frozen solid too. And I thought I'd bring them inside, but I was like, I'm just gonna leave them outside. If they explode, they explode, and I don't have to worry about it. If I bring it inside and they explode, now I gotta clean it. That's a real pain in the butt. But the 2-liter one, I guess there's so much intensity and so much volume that I guess the CO2 expanded. I don't really understand what happened. Maybe it's because the ice froze and expanded it out. I don't know. But after a week, it finally exploded. And, soda bottles are designed to hold at least 225 to 250 PSI. So that was a lot of force. It made quite a bit of noise. All right, so I'm going to tap it out just because I'm feeling nervous about it. That's all. I just don't want to have it fall on my nice jacket here. So how's that Oliva 135 starting out? Yeah, so the idea that I'm having for this new place is window service, carry out, to go. Real simple. And, one of my friends who runs John PK, he runs a place in Salt Lake City called Cafe de Bola. He's a real hardcore guy, right? Really hardcore. Like, I do think he's probably one of, if not the best operator of coffee shops in America. Like his place is solid. He messaged me. He's like, "How's your thing coming along?" I said, "I think I've got it worked out. We're gonna do this." And I was like, and I gotta say, I was a little bit self-conscious. I was like, I don't know what he's gonna say. He was like, "Oh, that's good." And I was like, okay, good. Because while we're gonna maintain the same quality coffee, the idea is that we want to serve the local workers, right? So there's a whole industrial area that the shop is surrounded by, industrial workers, not really industrial, but like light industrial, not heavy industrial, but light industrial. But there's a lot of people around there that are working. And I think that, that we can, if they can find great coffee and decent pastry, I think that could be a win-win at a good price, right? Like you go to these places and it's like $9, $10, $12 for a coffee and like a muffin. So my idea is coffee and a pastry, $6. And you just come and get it and go. Just real super simple. Not too many frills, just nice quality stuff. That's the idea I'm working on. Brian says that hardly anyone goes to D&D, the Dunkin' Donuts, buys a coffee done that sits down. Yeah, you know what's interesting? Like I went to the new Dunkin' Donuts that they just built right here in Cockeysville, and really pretty, like nicely done. But it's really geared towards drive-through. Like everything there is drive-through. Like I was just reading on one of the forums, people were talking about how it's so bad there in the mornings that the cars line up on the main street. It's kind of dangerous. But we're sitting there, so we went inside Dunkin' Donuts because I like to go and sit down. I prefer not to do drive-through, especially when I have a coffee and plus I can take notes, right? So we get there. There's 2 4-tops and 1 2-top. So there's a total of 10 seats in this entire place. This is a brand new Dunkin' Donuts, and there's only 10 seats. And I was like, wow, there's plenty of space to like walk inside. and line up and get your coffee. But Dunkin' Donuts, man, it's pretty, I gotta say, Dunkin' Donuts is pretty affordable, right? Like the donut, right? Chocolate glazed donut is $1.49. The coffee is like maybe $2 at the most. But if you buy the coffee, you get $1 off the donut. Because I was looking at the receipt and I was like, why is it discounted $1? And she's like, oh, when you buy a coffee, you get $1 off the donut. So the donut costs you 49 cents. And I was like, what? So for like $2.50 or something like that, or $3, you get a donut and a coffee. I was like, gosh, okay, we can't compete with that. We just can't compete with that. Just have no way to do it. Right? So I've been trying all these like muffins. It's just going either muffins that I'm trying from like potential suppliers, or just going to coffee shops to try their muffins to see what's going on there, right? So I had a donut and a muffin yesterday at Dunkin' Donuts. I had a donut at Starbucks. I had a muffin at Starbucks. And like, none of them are really great. Honestly, none of them are great. Like, I'm very biased, right? I spent a lot of time over the last several years developing this muffin recipe, this blueberry muffin. To me, what is the ultimate expression of blueberry muffin? And we used to make that at Spro, at the Hamden location. So to me, that's the ultimate expression. Like, it's based on this place that I used to get muffins from as a child up in Boston. So Boston used to have a place called Jordan Marsh. It's a department store. And they had a bakery. And my aunt's from Boston. So whenever she would come to visit, she would bring us blueberry muffins and blueberry pies from Jordan Marsh, the bakery. And they were awesome. Like, there's nothing like that here. Like, nothing was ever like that. And so I found her. I did some research like 10 years. I started researching like 10 years ago, worked on the recipe, got some recipes, tried them out. And we came up with this recipe that I think is just superb. Everything to me pales in comparison. So man, it's like, trying some of these like muffins. I'm like, okay, well, these are muffins that will fit the price point that we need to deliver this product at this price point, like $6. But I have to be okay with it not being the ultimate expression of a muffin. And I have been. I've spent my entire career trying to make beautiful product. So making decent product or offering decent product is difficult. I'm finding difficulty, and I'm not finding difficulty. Yeah, and that's the thing. So like, that's a good point. When you have, and I found this out with some of the places I went to, especially this week, like especially the ones that are whose coffee is a little bit more on the lower scale, right? Is that when you're drinking these coffees, I only drink them black, right? So, like I went to Royal Farms, which is the local, local like convenience store here. Royal Farms at one point used to brew them in like big bun brewers, right? Like typical like brewers. Now they have these sharer super automatics that do all the brewing for you. So basically, you walk up to the machine, they have a three turrets of coffees, different select. You select the coffee you want, you hit the button, and it brews the cup of coffee. And it comes out. And I bought this 16-ounce coffee. Now, 100%. The lady was like, what's the most popular one? 100% Colombian. All right, I'll try that. So she shows me how to do it. We do it. And this thing, it's these super automatics. They come out, and like after a while, it's just all like blonde and like yucky looking. I'm just like, oh my gosh, what is that all about? So anyway, they didn't have muffins there. They had actually with the coffee, you would get like a free blueberry cream cheese like tart that's pre-made, wrapped. Not very good. I just had it this afternoon. Not very good. But you can also buy 2 for $6 these little breakfast sandwiches. So I bought the chicken breakfast sandwich, and I bought this one sausage, egg, and cheese, or sausage, egg on a sweet waffle, which I don't know if I'm really into, but I was like, I'll try that. So I tried that. I was eating that, the waffle and the sausage and the egg, drinking the coffee, and actually really nice pairing. Like nicely, it all tastes fine. It's quite enjoyable. But once I finished the sandwich, right? Because there's the component, that sweet waffle in the sandwich. But once I was finished that, and once that flavor had washed away from my palate, and I was just drinking the coffee, that's when the dirtiness of the coffee starts to come through, right? And that's what I'm really, to me, that's one thing that I want to make sure that we eliminate completely. That, because, in order for them to hit their price points, they have to buy a certain level of coffee, right? But our level of coffee will be much higher. Like it won't be lower than our normal standard, right? Like we're not compromising the coffee. We're going to compromise a little bit on the other product, right? So that's kind of where I am with this whole thing of, the idea is that the price point is good. We'll attract people to come to give it a try. Hopefully they'll like it. And I think that, and this is what I experienced with Spro. Like people would come in, they would try our coffee. They may not know anything about coffee. They'll try it. They'll enjoy it for whatever it is. Like, you always want, the enthusiast in you always wants to be like, oh, what do you think? And you always want to be like, oh my God, it's so amazing. But really, most people aren't like that. Most people, they come get the coffee, they put cream and sugar, they drive away with it, they live with it, they just enjoy it, right? They drink it, they enjoyed it, whatever, they come back again, they drink it again, they're not thinking too much about it. At some point in time in the future, could be days, could be months, could be weeks, they've drank your coffee enough that they're used to it. Then they decide, okay, I'm going to stop by the Starbucks and get coffee. And that's when they realize that, oh, there's a difference. And that's really what part of this whole approach is about. It's like, we want to move you towards nicer quality coffee, enjoying nicer quality coffee. Then, that's really it. That's just moving towards nicer coffee. So we're still rolling along. I think we're still in the first third. Yeah, we're still in the first third. Still got a little bit of ways. My hand's feeling a little bit chilly. I think it's a little bit wet. How's our coffee doing? Let's see some coffee. Still in the mug. I haven't put the cap on. But nice. It's still well insulated. So very, very much still hot. Here's our torch, our lightsaber. And that's a lot of fun. That's kind of funny. Like I said, I don't know what I'm doing with this thing. What am I doing with that? But it is awesome. It's awesome. Thank you, Hacksmith. The Proto Saber is pretty awesome. So what else been happening in the world? Anything interesting? I haven't really kept up with much of the news. I haven't watched any of the shows. Once I finished For All Mankind, I haven't watched anything else. Like, I was trying to watch the season 2 of Night Court, and that's a fun show, but I haven't seen that in a few weeks. Magnum PI is over, so I don't know what else to watch. Doctor Who's not going to start for a while. Oh, and I don't know if you heard about Doctor Who. I saw on the news. Evidently, they have a new companion, right? There's this blonde girl, Millie Gibson. She's the new companion with Shudigawa. Evidently, they're starting to shoot the next season with Shudigawa, and they've replaced her with an Indian woman, which is fine. But, well, is it fine? Because, here's the thing. The weird thing that I noticed is Doctor Who, maybe because I'm neither white, I'm neither black, I'm neither Indian, right? That if you believe in Doctor Who, I walk away from Doctor Who and watching the companions, I always think, are we to believe that the entirety of the United Kingdom is made up of only these 3 ethnicities? Like, how about some Asian companions, right? Let's have a little more flavor with the companions. Rusty says, next week, watch the Let Us Go with the Sears. Ooh, the Sears. Actually, speaking of Sears, I was actually looking to see about buying one. Because for those of you who may not be familiar, Searzall is this attachment that goes onto your propane torch, right? And what it does, it's kind of like a shower head for your propane torch. And it's made by Dave Arnold, who is the guy that owns a place called Booker and Dax, or he used to own a place called Booker and Dax. He has a podcast called Cooking Issues. Really, I love that podcast. I really enjoyed listening to it because they talk about professional issues, not like, it's, if you listen to other ones that are like The Splendid Table, they're talking about like gourmet. They're gourmets. They enjoy food. They talk about it from the enthusiast perspective, right? Whereas Dave Arnold talks about food from the professional end, which I enjoy that more, actually, because there's more insight into it. And now David Chang, I think, is involved with one of these other ones. But the one episode that I listened to, they were so like, I just got mad. I just got mad. They were because I was attracted to it because they were talking about this Filipino tuber called ube that's become very popular in like mainstream food over the last like 5, 6, 7 years. But they couldn't even pronounce it correctly. Ube, and they didn't understand. They didn't know what it was. And I'm like, you're talking about this product and you have no idea what it is. You can't pronounce it. You don't know what to do with it. And I'm just like, what the heck is that? What's this all about? It's I don't know. It kind of struck me as very David Chang, and that it just kind of like, wants to shock everybody, but just like, I'm just like, I just couldn't listen to it anymore. I just stopped listening. But Dave Arnold really knows his stuff, and he has really great guests. Like recently, he just had Ariel Johnson, who I've met and talked to, hung out with a bit. Ariel's like this food scientist, really, really fantastic person, and always has good guests. But he made the Searzall several years ago. Now there's a new version called the Searzall 2. And it's a bigger shower head for not just a propane tank. It's actually designed to go with a MAP gas tank. So you get higher heat, more intense heat from the MAP gas that's spread even wider. And you can use that to sear your food. It's really cool, and it's not terribly expensive. It's less than $100. And I remember I was doing a battery of like binging his older shows from the summer. Some I heard, some I hadn't, some I missed. And I think they came out with another run. I think the run is over because I was looking at their website and I couldn't find it. I couldn't find the Searzall 2, just the Searzall. And I don't think you could order the Searzall anymore. So I'm hoping they're going to come out with another run of Searzall 2s. That would be really nice. And then, so Rusty says, regarding David Chang, he can be lovable at points, and other times I would like to find the lovable side of him. But I watched some of his Netflix shows. Like I watched maybe an episode or two of the, and again, I just got mad. I was just like, oh my gosh, man, dude, have some understanding. And maybe it goes back to his whole thing. Like one of the things I read about him years ago, he talked about how he went to Japan, to Tokyo, and studied under the soba master when he really wanted to make ramen. That's really was his passion, was ramen. And so finally, he's with the soba master for quite a while, maybe a year. The master's sharing his knowledge of soba with him because soba is so important, right? Soba is super important. Honestly, I'm not a big soba fan, right? I'm more of a ramen person myself. But, those people, the masters, are super intense about their thing. And he's teaching David Chang about soba. Finally, at the end of his term, he's like, I'm going to go learn, I'm going to play with ramen. Evidently, his soba master was so pissed off with him. And I was like, God, dude, that's just so like, and I think that's kind of sets the tone for Chang. It's like, yeah, I don't know. Can't deny he's successful. He's done for, I've eaten at most of his New York joints, Sambar and the other ones, especially, 10 years ago when he was really big, went to all of those places. Really had nice meals. Uh-oh. I think that's where I got the story from, was about his soba journey, was from Mind of a Chef. Actually, that story actually kind of like set the tone for me with him. I was like, this guy's, you kind of wasted this master's time, right? I don't know. Be like you came to work for me for like a year or two, and you're like, I'm teaching you all about coffee, and you're like, well, I just really want to go and make tea. What the hell were you here for? Why were you here? What are you doing here? I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, I think we are getting a little bit of rain. Hopefully, it won't get too bad. As long as it doesn't start pouring on the equipment. Worst comes to worst, I can always push the equipment back in. And Rusty says, I have friends who worked with when he was a young cook at Danielle. The consensus, he was a hack and sloppy cook. Oh, I get it. Actually, one night, Danielle, chef, he took us out to dinner. We went to Barbalud, and Danielle was with. He didn't take. I mean, he wasn't taking me necessarily. He took me to. He treated us to dinner, but I was actually, because I was with my friend, Philip Preston, the owner of Polyscience. Him and I are friends, and he, of course, he knows Danielle, and so Danielle's like, "Come eat with us." I was like, "Oh, all right, thank you, chef." I was really kind of like a little bit starstruck. I was like, "Oh, I get to eat with you? Oh, it's dope." Brian wants to know, do you know your sleeves are under? Yes, I do. So, these are breathable sleeves so that, when you're sweating, you can more readily evacuate the moisture, right? So I'm actually wearing a few layers. I have a thermal layer, like a real thin Capilene Patagonia. And then I have this is actually a fleece vest that has, this is a redhead fleece. And then I've got Patagonia jacket, Patagonia shell. And so all together, it works pretty well. Brian says, Chrissy and Dave dine out. I'm not sure what that reference is. Oh, so I guess we are pretty much. Oh, it is raining. We are pretty much at the first third. Right? Yeah, that's definitely the first third. So I think it's solid, very good. Like, I don't think it's like, body is kind of medium plus now. Actually, maybe the body is like 8.5. We are not. It is raining a little bit, but it's not raining hard, so that's a good thing. Hopefully, it won't get any harder. Oh, Chrissy Teigen and sorry, like I said, I haven't really followed much on Dave Chang. I don't really. I know he's very popular. I know people love him, and all respect to that. But I just found some of the stuff that they've done to be like Rusty's friends have said, to be a bit sloppy. And I'm like, I don't know. I prefer to see more precision than sloppiness. The truth is that I'm very much a Thomas Keller fan. So, he's all about like finesse, and I'm like, that speaks my language. I'm like, oh, I like that. I like that. I want to be more like that as an operator than kind of rock and roll. I don't want to be rock and roll. Oh, Brian hasn't watched a new show either. Okay, that's all right. I haven't seen it as well. I'm busy waiting for Star Trek Discovery to come back out for the final season. I want to know what happened with Tilly. They were talking on the news about or at least on the fan news, that there's supposed to be a new Starfleet Academy show coming out, and whoever wrote this article was lamenting how, like, of course, Tilly left Discovery to go teach at Starfleet Academy in the 600 years from now, right? Or 1,000, 1,200 years from now. And they were lamenting how, like, Tilly's going to be there in that show probably, but she's probably going to be relegated to like a supervisory role rather than an actual like central character. And they said that was a big disappointment. I kind of would have to agree with that. So Cigar's changing, right? It feels more bright, more acidity's coming out of it. Still interesting, but that spice, that like undercurrent of spice, that like smooth spice we've had for the first third, the entire first third, has now changed. It's now bright and acidic. That's made way. Like the spice is all gone. Now it's brightness and acidity. Very interesting. Very different. Tony says the Oliva 135 is very good. Excellent. Excellent. I gotta try that. And one of the customers is sitting in the box next to Taylor's. Oh, oh, that's excellent. That's excellent. Taylor Swift. That's actually, you know what? I gotta say, I'm excited that Taylor Swift is coming to town. Like I was excited. The moment they heard the Chiefs won, I was like, "Ooh, that means Taylor's gonna be here. That's gonna be kind of fun." And if you look at Facebook or some of the social media here in Baltimore, like I don't know, those of you who don't live here may not have seen this, but like a lot of people are posting memes where they're basically cutting out photos of Taylor Swift, like her head, and they're pasting it onto different scenes here in Baltimore, like where they shot The Wire and all that kind of stuff. And actually, I did one myself for Spro's Instagram. Yeah, I did it like that. There it is. That's kind of what they're doing. People are cutting out Taylor's head and such and pasting it onto. People are really excited about it. I think it's pretty cool. Like, oh, Taylor Swift coming to town, especially since she didn't come here and do a concert. The nearest concert she did for her Eras tour was in Philadelphia. So I think people are like, oh, we're missing out. Like, right, maybe that's one reason that you want to get a skybox. So on the off chance that the Ravens, after 50 years, finally go to the AFC Championship and play the Chiefs, that maybe Taylor Swift will come to town and sit next to you. If you're in a skybox like that, right, you're next to Taylor Swift in the next box. Like, even though you're excited to see, I guess you gotta, you're in this skybox, so you gotta be like, you spent all this money, $135,000 for the game, maybe more. I presume you got to be a little bit cool about it, like it's no big deal, Taylor Swift is right next to you. What do? Just kind of surreptitiously do that. That's what I would do. I'd be like, Taylor, or maybe just do it like. Then I saw one guy online. He's talking about Taylor Swift's not even that good looking, and I was like, "What? She's a good looking girl. What are you talking about? She's not good looking. No, she's a pretty girl who's done really great things, whether you like her music or not." People respond well to her. So Tony says you show a difference. Yeah, I guess that's what you have to do. You spent all this money. I guess you can't look like you're some kind of like crazy fanboy. Or maybe you should. You spent $150,000 for the box, so might as well be like, oh my God, Taylor, can I get a selfie with you? I might do that. I might have done that. actually I think the Ravens called my friend. They're like, hey, do you think you might be able to come do a skybox level event on Sunday? So he tells me that they called me about maybe doing one on Sunday. They'll let me know soon. And I was like, but do you know if it's Taylor? If it's Taylor, I'll come work for you. That'd be funny. Yeah, it's definitely changed. That brightness is going away, and I'm kind of wondering, like, is it also could be because of the increased moisture? I have had a couple raindrops hit the wrapper. It's right there. You can kind of see a little bit of glistening. I don't know if that's a bad thing. Okay, so the cigar has changed. So we went, the first third, really good. Then it changed and got a little bit of bright for those last few puffs. But now it's getting this kind of, is it dirty or ashy kind of character to it? Like it's getting a little bit rough. It's a little bit ashy. Not so pleasant. Not so pleasant. Like you guys who smoked a lot of the Gran Habanos, the number 5s, do you recall if it changed that much? Like it is smoking now very, very differently than it did when it started out. Could be because maybe I'm going fast, but the burn is still very even. The draw is still good, right? Like we're not getting indications of burn problems, draw problems. Just the flavor has changed. Maybe I should rest for a moment. See if that will get it back on track. I had a customer message me. I had a viewer on the YouTube channel message me the other day. Actually messaged me on Instagram and said, hey, did you see this other guy's video? There's another YouTuber that does coffee. And he's like, they went to this place in New York City and they were trying coffee at different coffee shops and they were totally bashing on these places, like totally. And I was like, oh, I hadn't seen that. Which video is it? So he sent me the link. So I watched it. And I was like, yeah, they're pretty beating up on this place. They go to this place. It's actually a place that I've been to. This is a place that has like locations around the world, coffee locations, very well renowned, right? Like very famous. People are super excited to go there. And I remember going to the one that they opened in Manila back in 2018. But I had a real curious experience there because I went there and you go to these places, they're located all over the world. Really well. I mean, the interior design, beautiful. They buy the most beautiful equipment. They do these beautiful interiors. Like it's very, very like fancy. And when I was there, went to this one in 2018, they had this coffee that was produced by a friend of mine, like one of my really good friends, Annie Ruth Pimentel in El Salvador, who I think is probably one of the better producers in the world. Definitely one of the best in El Salvador. And and for me in 2015, she made, her coffee was the best I had tasted that year. So really beautiful stuff. And so her coffees, the Red Bourbon, is a coffee that I'm very familiar with, right? I've been tasting it for years. And so I was like, oh, I was excited to see it on their menu. And I was like, all right, I'll get that coffee. So I ordered it. Uh-oh. My score sheet is getting all wet now. It's right over one of the drops areas. So I ordered it. And unfortunately, it was pretty heavily roasted and pretty flat. Like this is a coffee I really knew that I experienced many times. So I know kind of what the coffee is about that she produces. And this really, the way they treated it, the way they roasted it, and I guess the way they brewed it, didn't really deliver the coffee as it could have been. And I was pretty disappointed. So they go to this place and they were like, they had the espresso and they were like, oh, this is terrible, blah, 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 blah. And they're just totally like beating it down. They go to another place, have the espresso, they're totally beating it down. And I was like, so I wrote back to the guy, I said, yeah, I saw the video. I said, I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. Because he was like, his thing was like, they're a bit over the top and like, maybe it's because they're younger. And I said, yeah, I can see that. Because like I know I've said this on our show here. So, I think when you're in the first 5 years of your career, like you learn enough to like be dangerous about it. Like you learn enough truth about your craft that you can pontificate about it. And your pontifications tend to be very, very black and white. Like this is it, right? There's no nuance. There's no real understanding. There's just a base understanding. And then you can like make your prognostications and proclamations about things. And I kind of got that feel because they would talk about they hated it, but they would never say why they hated it. What are the characteristics of the coffees that they didn't like? And I think that's an important part. Like, if you watch some of the mainline videos that I'm putting out from my cafe tours, there are some cafes whose coffees that that don't necessarily match my palate. Right? But hopefully, I'm hoping that when I talk about them, I hope I'm putting context is what are the aspects that I didn't jive with. Again, it goes back to that whole thing we were saying earlier about when you listen to a reviewer, you listen to what they say, and you find the things that you agree with and the things you don't agree with, so you can understand that, okay, like I said, maybe it's not something I like, but maybe something you like, right? And I thought in their video, that's what was missing. And it's something that I've been wrestling with myself. Like when I was away last year, we went to this one place, and I did a coffee shop tour of this town. We went to like 3 different shops. I brought my cousin. I brought one of our friends. He's also a chef. Brought him along, and we went to these 3 cafes. And we tried the coffees. First 2 cafes were fine, nice experiences, nice coffees. The last place we went to, there's no way to describe the coffee other than awful, right? Like, and it wasn't awful because it wasn't something that we didn't necessarily like. It didn't necessarily fit our palate. It was objectively bad because of poor hygienic practices. Like the hygiene and cleanliness in this place was shocking. Like this is the kind of thing that you'd see Gordon Ramsay just go ballistic on, right? Like when he goes, this is because like I have these brew towers, right? And the brew towers have this spiral glass on it, right? So it brews down and then goes to this spiral. I mean, I've been brewing on those things since 2006, and I've been using them for years. So I'm really, really familiar with how do they work. What do you do with them? Never have I seen crusty, scummy coffee residue. Like it looks like, if you can imagine what plaque must look like in your arteries, that's what it looks like. This brown coffee plaque building up in the spiral glass because it must have never been cleaned, ever. And so we shot this, and in the video, the owner who's there, he's talking it up. Right? He talks up. One of those guys, very proud of what he does, probably one of those guys that thinks he could do no wrong. And as I'm shooting around the shop, evidently he gets a little bit nervous. He's like, oh, you shouldn't show that because, I thought he was talking about the art that was shooting on the wall. Evidently he was talking about some of the other things. But in the footage, we're tasting the coffee, and it's really difficult. And even my friend, the chef, Tim, he's like, man, you probably shouldn't post that. And I was like, all I don't know. So I've been going back and forth, like, right, for the last year. I'm putting off releasing this video because it's like, do I release it and show everything? Because there's no way to show it. There's no way to show the entirety of that visit without it reflecting poorly on this place. Part of me thinks that it's deservedly so, but also the other side is like, I'm not here to bash on people, right? That's not my interest. That's not my intent, no matter how bad it is. So I ran this by a bunch of YouTubers that I know and said, hey, what do you think about this? And some of them were like, no, you should leave it out. Some were like, yeah, you should put it in because, and we paid for it. I paid for it, right? This is stuff that he's serving the people, the public, daily. So I don't know. That's one thing. So I will not say which place it is. But Craig, you watch enough, I think, of YouTube to figure out what I'm talking about. Because actually the guy that made the video, I know him, kind of. I met him. Nice guy. I do like him a lot. I like his videos. I like what he does. Just that I think that a number of the people that were, a number of the commenters actually said that, oh man, this kind of video does not jive with what you're doing. And the one that I was talking about how it just promotes coffee snobbery. And I was like, yeah, I totally get what these guys are saying. I totally get the consternation. Oh, which reminds me, you were telling me about the video of the Lilith. Is it the Lilith? One of the espresso machines. And I was looking at, I did watch it after we did the 2 weeks ago. I did watch that. I forgot to mention this last week. I did watch that video. I was looking for more, I thought there'd be a lot more consternation in the comments of that video, but I didn't really notice them. And I think I read through pretty much all of them. I took the time to read them. I don't know if Lance was really off in what he was saying. Like, I think I didn't watch the whole video. I kind of skipped through it, but I think that from what I get from the comments, and he talked about some of the issues as far as the quality control, the finishes, and I think there's if that's true, I guess he took the machine apart. I didn't see any. I didn't think there was anything necessarily off. I mean, I didn't see it all, so I can't really say. But then I noticed that the owner of the company on his blog went kind of like off on him. I was like, I don't know if those things ever serve you well as an operator, right? Like I know a lot of operators, and they're always like let's say like reviews are always like something that are difficult. Like there's this everyone knows Yelp, right? And a lot of operators hate Yelp. They just hate it. They're always like complaining, Yelp's terrible, it's blah 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 blah. And I'm like, I get it, but I think that Yelp is as an operator, I think Yelp is a great tool. Looks like my battery is going to die out soon. I do think Yelp is a great tool. And why I say that is because Yelp is a place where people will they will bash on you. And I think sometimes I think that's deserved. Like I read all of the Yelp reviews for Spro, like everyone. Oh, there we go. Let's go back to this camera. So I read every one from Spro, and let me open the door. Hopefully the smoke will not go in the house. Just got to be a little more cognizant of pushing it up. But I read every one. And, the truth is sometimes, no matter how much you're trying to do it right, sometimes, your people make mistakes. It's just how it happens, right? It's just part of it. But I think that anytime we would have, and you can go look it up, Spro Hamden, you can see all the comments. I think it's still there. And you can see my responses to them. my whole perspective is that the reviews and what you say as the owner in response to those reviews are maybe 10% for the actual person that's complaining. The other 90% is really for the other people reading Yelp, right? Because I want to communicate to people that we pay attention to what people are saying. We take it seriously, and we try to make adjustments to improve what we're doing in response to those complaints. And I think that when people read it, other people, I think they see that, okay, this means that these people are trying to do better. They're paying attention, which to me translates to the thought in their minds that, oh, it's worth visiting because, they probably will make a change. Where some people just they want to argue and fight the reviewer. It's that doesn't serve you anything. It just makes you look like that guy from you guys must have seen that review. The guy that does the Barstool Sports, the guy that does the one bite, one slice pizza reviews. He went to that place in Massachusetts, and the guy totally came out and wanted to fight him or something. And I saw the video. He's they get all mad. They're yelling at each other. It's on one side, I'm sure that probably helped his business more than it would have, more than a great review would have helped him, because people don't want to go check it out. But it's otherwise, it's also you kind of take the risk of making yourself really look bad. It comes off the wrong way. So I don't know. What do you guys think about that? Craig says, I like seeing owner responses on Yelp. Yeah, I agree with you. I like to see how they respond. How do they take it? Because, with my own operations, we do try very hard. We take our time to try to teach our staff and give them the best training and give them, hopefully the tools they need to care for the guests. But invariably they'll make a mistake. Sometimes and there's only been once or twice when I've really kind of gotten defensive about it. I remember one of the early ones before I opened Spro in Hamden. We used to have a food critic for the city of Baltimore, Elizabeth Large. And I got to say, Elizabeth was amazing in that all the years that she reviewed for the Baltimore Sun, nobody in the industry knew who she was. They could not figure out who she was, what she looked like. Nobody had that, right? People figure out who Ruth Reichel is from the New York Times, but nobody could figure out Elizabeth Large. So amazing, right? But I was always kind of critical of Elizabeth, in the comments, because she was one of those reviewers that were always we never found anything wrong, right? Everything was great, everything was good, and it's when you get, and to my mind, if you get a review from someone that only says good things about everything, then how genuine is the compliment that you're receiving, right? If Gordon Ramsay was hey, this is amazing. Okay, that means a lot because this guy will beat you down. But when you're really nice about everything, it's okay, that's cool. I'm glad we got a good review. And so my being critical of that managed to upset a lot of her fans. So when they found out that I opened Spro in Hamden, most of them were just chomping at the bit to take a bite out of me, right? And I understand that. I totally understand that. And Elizabeth Large did not come in, but somebody else came in that was a guest writer on her column. They came in, they brought a friend, and they kind of beat us down, right? And this is right when we opened. So I had hand-trained the 8 people that opened the store personally for 4 or 5 months. We were training. So I knew these people really, really well. I knew what they're capable of. I knew everything about them. And they came in on this one morning, 9:30, and they said they had this experience, which wasn't very glowing. And okay, that's fine. If we make a mistake, we make a mistake. That's just how it goes. I'm not upset about that. But they were kind of talking about how this person wasn't personable to them. And I was like, this is a guy that never is mean to people. Never. I've worked with him for a long time. I got him. He came to me from another company who had great references for him. Never has this guy cracked under pressure. And so we figured out who they were and when they came in, because I talked to the staff, and they're like, oh yeah, this person came in and they were with this person. They had a child and they had all this. They sat over there. I pulled up their tickets from the POS system, so I knew exactly what time they came in, what they ordered, and everything. And then they were like, oh, the woman that they brought was this woman that had been in coffee for 13 years, and they said, oh, this is what she ordered. She ordered this coffee. She had cream and sugar, and I was like, and they were talking about the quality of the coffee and how it wasn't very good, and I was like, and I finally wrote a response to it on the Baltimore Sun, and I was like, hey, I said, things can happen or whatever, but I very hard pressed to believe that this person acted in this way because I've known him for this reason. And I said, I laid it out in the response. I said, you guys came in at this time, you sat at this position, my staff noticed it because of this reason, and you did, your children did this, you did that. And I said, even later on with if you're a friend, I'm not going to say, your friend has been in the business for 13 years. I would imagine that your friend, if she's really evaluating the quality of our coffee, we have acceptable standards within the industry to do it, like cupping and the way that we would evaluate the coffee. And this person didn't do that, and so the part that I thought was really the successful part of that was that even those who were more than ready to stomp on my head in the reviews, even they wrote some response that said, okay, well, that does seem suspect. And I was like, okay, that was enough. It put question in their minds too. And these are people that would be more than happy to bash on me, more than happy. So I was really like, that's the only time that I've ever really pushed back on a review. Because you could say whatever you want about me, that's fine. But if you're going to talk about my staff, at least be accurate about them. I don't really want my staff to get trashed when they don't deserve it. If they were acting like a total jerk off to you, absolutely. Oh, so we are definitely into the second and third. I should over. So the second third, I think we definitely had some downgrade, right? Like the body, I would say, is still the same, 8.5. But the flavor in the second third, right? Remember, it went from the spiciness and the canela from the first third, and then when we got to the second third, it became a little bit bright, right? Acidic for the first part of it, and then the latter part, it just got that ashiness. So we were 8. I gotta say, it probably dropped to 7.5. Maybe it could be worse, but I can't say that it was as good as the first third. No, we had that ashiness in the second third. Now that we're into the final third, that ashiness is gone. It's not quite the spiciness that we had in the first third, but the ashiness is gone. There is no brightness. I would describe this now as more of a general tobacco kind of flavor. Not necessarily exciting, but definitely not. I want to say repulsive, but that's not really what I'm thinking about. I'm for some reason I'm lacking a better terminology, but it's not turning me off, right? The ashiness was, and I was like, oh my gosh, if I have to smoke a whole other third with this ashiness, it's going to be really difficult. But this is not bad. I don't know. Let's get our coffee. Let's see the coffee. This thing has not had a cap on it. It's still hot. I'm going to say this thermal thing is pretty interesting. I did, speaking of thermals, I don't know if I mentioned this last week, but about a year ago, every Christmas, some of my friends and I will get together and we'll do these gift exchanges. And last Christmas, 2022 Christmas, we did a gift exchange. And I'm at this point in life where I like to give the gift. I don't know if I really want to receive the gift, right? What am I going to do with these gifts? I have no idea what I'm going to do with these things. I got more clutter in my place than I need. I'd rather I'd rather just give a gift and maybe I don't get anything in return. That's fine. I'm very happy with that. But like last year, my friend, her gift that I ended up with was a Stanley Cup, right? The big Stanley Cup, the one that you see everybody going crazy for right now. It was in black. And like, I got it. And I'm like, okay, cool. It's in a bag. I got plenty of thermals. I have no idea what I'm going to do with this thing. And it's huge. Like I have no need for a huge thermal thing. I've got a big one from Roma Craft that I got. That's fine. I don't need anything else. So it's just been sitting around somewhere in the kitchen. I don't know where it's been. I don't really know where it's been for the last like year. But last week, my niece calls me. She's like, do you still have that Stanley Cup? And I don't know how she even saw this. Like she must have seen it at some point and just knew that I had it. And now that it's like the hottest item in America, she knows it's floating around. She's like, are you using that? And I was like, if you're not using it, can I use it? Yeah, absolutely. Take it. And at that moment, I was thinking, maybe I should do a video about it. But I gave it to her and let her use it. And I think she's super stoked. I think I mentioned this last week. But anyway, so there's some dude in Nicaragua that's growing coffee, American guy, moved to Nicaragua. He's got a smaller channel than I do, I think. But I saw he had a video about this Stanley pour-over brewer. And I guess the Stanley pour-over brewer has been out for quite a while. But it looks like the Stanley, kind of that industrial design, but it's a pour-over with this little like tube kind of like filter, steel filter. And I was like, oh, that looks kind of interesting. Maybe I should order one of those. So I ordered one from REI. It's supposed to be there. It's supposed to be at the REI store for me to pick up tomorrow. But I don't know if you see it, but it comes in a small Stanley mug. I ordered it. They have it in cream color and they have it in the industrial green. So I asked my niece, I said, hey, she's very fashionable. She's all like hip with all this stuff. So I was like, so which one should I order? The white? I figured she'd say the white or the green. She said, get the green. So I figured I'll do a little like video about that. It'd be kind of fun, I think. Gets very trendy, very, very trendy. When she asked me about it, I thought for a moment, maybe I should use it. But what am I going to do with that thing? She can be the trendy one. I'm all right with that. Craig says, future-proof YouTube channel. Just did a great video on the Stanley show. Oh, I'll have to look at that. Yeah, actually, those Stanley stuff is kind of expensive. Like I was looking online because when I was looking for the brewer, the brewer was not expensive. It was like $40, I think, so very reasonable. So I bought that. But I was like, oh, maybe I should do a video where do the lunch pail and then put in the old school Stanley thermos thing that we had when we were young. Those are like way expensive. But like the lunch boxes are like $135. The big thermos, right? The way you put like your drink in. The old school with the cup, right? The cup that screws off. You can't even get them. I was like, oh my God, it is out of control right now. I was like, oh, okay. So we're just gonna have the pour over. But I think it's fun. I saw this article today. They were talking about like, oh, there's one person saying that now that the Stanley is a trendy thing, I'm embarrassed to take it out. I'm like, why would you be embarrassed to take it with you? I was like, that doesn't make any sense to me. I was like, you got it, use it. You had it before the trend, keep using it. Like I'm behind the trend. I just bought a mere thermal jug or whatever. I got it for $10. It was at a clearance sale. It was all white with this logo on. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. $10. I could use that as a prop in the video. So I don't know. People kind of be funny about that kind of thing. I don't know why you worry about it. I kind of thought about using it myself because I was like, finally, I can be trendy. I can be fashionable. I'm at that age now where we're not trendy, we're not fashionable anymore. We're not cool. This would be cool. I just wonder, like, do people put stickers on those Stanley Cups? And actually, when the Stanley Cup really started to emerge, like 2 weeks ago, when it started really trending on the news, Like people talk Stanley Cup, and I started thinking like, are people buying miniature like Stanley Cup hockey, like trophies? Like, is that what they're talking about? And then I realized that, oh, no, it's not the hockey thing. It's the Stanley. Yeah, if they, I hope so, because if they are, then I'm totally like ready to go. It is kind of awesome. Like, but I gotta say, there should be like a hook, right? So you can carry it like a lightsaber, like Luke does, or like Darth Vader does, right? Or even Obi-Wan carried on a loop. Mace Windu carried on a loop, right? Okay, Hacksmith, that's what you're missing. That's what's missing from this one. Otherwise, it's pretty awesome. But I am curious to know how they can get the whole, if it can make the full size one, that would be pretty dope. I did see a video though, just the other day. And from what the guys in the description were talking about, so this guy has this lightsaber, right? He hits the button and it extends and it glows. Like it comes out, like it's totally like this. And he hits the button and then it just kind of grows. You're like, and I was like, is that a special effect? And I was like, no, it's not. I think it really is real. And so evidently there's something about that lightsaber where it glows because there's some kind of filament that extends from the handle and glows. I was like, okay, that's kind of cool. That's pretty cool. I kind of dig that. Rusty says, I won an actual Stanley through a teacher raffle. Oh, nice. I had it on my desk but didn't use it. One of my students asked me about it, and I asked if she had one like all her friends. She said she couldn't afford one, so I gave her mine since, that's great. That's awesome, man. And to be honest, you know what? Those kids, like my niece, they're gonna love it much more than we do, right? Like, for us, it's just like a little tool that we have, right? It's cool. It's nice. Maybe it's too big for us, but like these guys, they're going to be like, this is dope. They'll be like, this is dope. I'm awesome now, right? And what's wrong with making, kids happy? We're getting closer. It's not as good as when it started, but it's better than the second third. We're getting a little more rain, but it's not heavy. Luckily, I'm under the deck. Like there's a deck here, right? So the deck is taking most of the rain. So it's only dripping through in certain spots, which is nice. Yeah, that's good work, Rusty. Cheers to you, man. All right, starting now. I did have a couple drops hit the cigar. So part of it is not fully lit. Like this part here is lit, this part is not. See if I can touch that up a little bit. Dry it out and relight it. The power of the Force. And Rusty says, plus it is mainly a female. Oh, is it mainly a female thing to have one? I honestly haven't seen a guy walking around with one. Oh, maybe it is a female thing because the big thing was I think it was the Starbucks collaboration where they released a pink one at Target. I think it could be more of a female thing. Or for smart guys who want to get in with the females. Like reflecting on my life now, I should have gotten into cheerleading when I was younger. Like, guys when we were young in high school, like, oh, cheerleading, I'm not going to do that. That's not cool. That's for girls. The guys that got into cheerleading, they were the smart ones. Guys, we're so dumb, right? We do things to just encourage sausage parties. Like we play basketball, we play football, we play baseball. All these we do wrestling. All these things that are dominated by guys. When all we want to do is get with the girls, but we do guy stuff. We're not very smart. Girls are smart because they'll do their thing and then they'll go hang out with guys. Like they'll hang out with their guys watching their games. We want to go. We're kind of dumb. We're meatheads. We're meatheads. Oh yeah, hang out. Yeah, guys, good, cool. The smart guys were the cheerleader guys. Tony says, I think the pink one was with Lainey Wilson. Watermelon sugar one. Oh, nice. Watermelon moonshine, not watermelon sugar. Okay. Yeah, watermelon sugar is that shop down in Hampton. And Craig says that the target is 20 to 50 females. Really? 20 to 50? Wow. That seems like a widespread. If you get the pink one, the watermelon, that would probably be a good one to have. Then you could have like conversations with girls. Be like, oh, where'd you get that? Oh, yeah, I got it here. How you doing? Maybe give me your phone number. Again, we got to do things that are like, that don't bring us to sausage. Instead, I was the sausage guy. I was like, okay, I'm going to do sports. I'm going to do paintball. I'm going to do this. All guys hanging out with guys. So what are we doing? We want to get with girls. Why are we hanging out with guys? That doesn't make any sense. So not bad. It's going along. Still got a little bit of time on it. It's been a good long smoke. We're about an hour and a half into it. It's a little bit out here, so I'm going to hit it a little bit more. Every once in a while, it gets hit with a little bit of raindrops. I gotta say that is kind of cool. Like I have this other one. I brought this other one just like Craig said. Don't use it for the. Don't use the light. I said just in case I can't get it to light. I brought this one right. There that is. Look at that. Here, there we go. That is not. That is not this. Right. This is guys. It's like, I don't know. So as you've seen, Trump has been winning. He won. He won Iowa. He won New Hampshire. Ron DeSantis got totally clobbered. There was something, I can't recall what it was, but I remember they had a clip on it about Ron DeSantis was talking about how all these people will kowtow to Trump and how they're all like weak, something like that. And then the moment that he like withdraws, he's like, I pay fealty to Trump. It's like, God, all this talk you keep doing. I don't understand it. I don't understand it. I don't know. What do you guys think? Trump or Haley? Or should I say Trump or Nimarata? Rusty says marching band is a sport. Yeah, absolutely. If there's girls in it, like there's girls in marching band, right? So it's one of those things that I kind of, if you want to get hit by the train, you have to go stand on the tracks, right? So if you want to get hit by the train of women, you have to go stand on the tracks. Cheerleading, marching band, and we all know from that movie what happens at band camp. How could you not be part of the marching band? The two greatest movies that taught me about life and how wrong I was in my choices, American Pie and Bring It On. That's it. That's it. And this thing is sucking. So when I had the door closed, the smoke would go this way. Now that the door's open, the smoke is going in the house. I'm sure the HVAC is running, so it should be pushing it out. Go figure. Who figures this thing? This is the whole thing about fluid dynamics. It just like makes my head like hurt. Or spin classes. See, Tony knows. Tony goes to spin class. So actually, there's more foolishness on our part, right? Like, so Brian's wife, Maria, she's a spin instructor. She does fitness, right? There's lots of women in fitness. If we were smarter creatures, we would be joining her class so that we could be on the tracks of women. Instead, we do cigars. Again, it's sausage fest. It really makes no sense. It really doesn't. It really defies logic. Craig wants to know who's going to be the Trump's running mate. That is the question. Obviously, it's not going to be Mike Pence. Pence burned that bridge when he didn't certify Trump as the president. But I gotta say, Biden is not very. He's not very good. There's smoke's going in the house again. What is going on here? All right, I can't have smoke going in the house. We're gonna have to call it. We're gonna have to call it soon. Go. I'm blowing it this way, and it's going to the house. Fluid dynamics, man. Kills me. It kills me. Like now it's smoking. You think that it would go a certain way? It doesn't go that way at all. It just does whatever it wants to do. Hyper frustrating. All right, let's do our evaluation. The sheet is very wet, but luckily the parts where I have to write are still kind of dry. So we went from 8 in flavor down to 7.5. It has improved, but I can't say that it was back to 8. I would say maybe 7.75. I'm going to say still 8.5 with the body. The body's still been very consistent. And so now burn and draw. Burn has been good. It's burned well. Draw has been very good. I'll say that the burn and draw have been excellent. Consistency has not been great. I think consistency has been good, 7. Overall, I'm going to say 7.5. Now, let us calculate this. So we have 8 plus 16.5 plus 16 plus 16.25 plus 16 plus 7.5. 80.25 is our score, which is probably, let's see if we get it. That's going to be our lowest score for the year so far out of the 4 cigars we've smoked. 80.25. Let me share that with you so you can see it. So as you can see here, 82.5. Asylum was the third cigar. Last week I forgot to put that in so far. 85.25. And so far still the best one for the year. 86.75 is the Jewish State Liga provider number 10 Anniversario. So not a bad showing so far. So far we're starting well. Rusty says, is Harris a shoo-in as VP of the ticket with Biden? I presume that she is. I don't think they're really planning on changing Kamala. But Biden hasn't been a very good leader, especially this past year. He's just not exuding confidence to me. And then Rusty says, Craig, once the nominees are set, does the Canadian media really follow and report on any campaigns? Oh, I wonder. Like, here's the thing. Like, here in Maryland, right? Maryland is an interesting place because Maryland is basically a Democratic fortress state, right? So pretty much no matter what people are voting for, there's so many people voting Democrat here that all the electoral votes go to the Democrat nominee. So there's really no, one of my friends was like arguing about Trump and Biden and Nimarata, and I was like, it doesn't really matter what you say. Like, pretty much what we do here, like, you can vote for whoever you want, but really, unless there's a massive change. Like in 2016, I did vote for Johnson because I was like, I can't support either of the two major candidates. I just didn't feel, and either of them were worthy of my time. But I could vote for Johnson because I already knew that there's no way that this state would vote for Trump. Yes, they do. The Canadian media does follow. All right, so that's it. 80.25. It's nice. It's a nice cigar. I think I would like to try the number 5 again because I think the price point of this, even with the OTP here in Maryland, that brings it to $9. That's still a good buy as far as like a cigar to smoke. And if the performance of the smaller cigar, the thinner cigar, is better, it'd be a nice like regular cigar to have. House beside them. I hear you on that. I hear you. All right, so yeah, I think we're going to call it quits because the smoke keeps going in, and there's nothing that I dislike more than having smoke in a house. All right, so that's what we do for this week. Thank you very much for tuning in. Glad you spent another Thursday night with us here on the weekly Thursday Night Hang. Back again next week, where we're going to be doing the Perdomo 30th Anniversary Maduro. That's going to be our cigar next week, so come and join us. Grab one for yourself. Evidently, there's only a few retailers in each state that have it, so you can find one. I got mine from Davidas here in Towson, where I got this one as well. So see if you can get that for next week. That'd be great. The Perdomo 30th Anniversary Maduro in the Toro side. And yeah, so hope you have a great week out there. I think it'll be kind of warm this weekend. Hopefully we'll come back to you next week with news of Taylor and Taylor going home sad. As much as I like Taylor Swift being in Baltimore, we want her to go home sad. No, the NFL evidently has assigned a judging team that is very much in favor of, that tends to be favorable towards the road teams rather than the home teams. So there's a conspiracy theory running around now that says that Goodell is trying to set it up so that the Ravens don't make it to the Super Bowl, which makes sense because I think the NFL as an organization would prefer not to have the Ravens. Like they did have back when we did the Super Bowl last time, Ravens are winning, and then they had this power outage trying to turn it around, but that didn't work out for them. Although I did have a meme that it's not a meme, but a picture. I have it on my Facebook page if you want to look at it. There, somebody posted this, took a picture of this news report from last week that said that the Super Bowl that's happening on February 11th between the Baltimore Ravens and the San Francisco 49ers. So I don't know if that means that it's been determined or not, but we'll find out what happens this weekend. All right. So thanks for tuning in, Craig, Tony, Mom. Good to see you as well. Stephen, Brian, everyone out there. Thanks for tuning in, and see you next time.